Now, will Nav fall off? With Nav being one of the most hated rappers in hip hop, I feel like this is a conversation worth having. By the end of this video, you will know for sure, will Nav ever fall off? And I'm sure the answer will shock some people. Now, if I had to sum up Nav's career in one analogy, it would be, have you ever been with your friends and they recommend a specific movie and they say, yo, you gotta check out this movie, it's amazing. And you're like, oh snap, I really have to check out this movie if so many people are gassing it up. And you go to the cinema and you sit there and you finally watch this movie and you're just like, wow, that movie was nice. But yeah, a little overrated. I don't really see what the big point about it was. I don't see why so many people were surrounding this movie with so much hype. If I had to summarize Nav career in an analogy, it would be that, honestly. I don't know how many times I've turned on a Nav song or a Nav album and I listened to the entire thing and I'm just like, wow, that was nice. I mean, I guess I don't necessarily regret the time that I spent listening to this, but if I could go back in time and better utilize my time, I probably would skip listening to that whole song because it really wasn't that impactful in my life. And I don't hate Nav or anything, dog. I feel like he has so much potential, but at the same time, it's just misused completely. Nev sometimes feels like an example of a producer whose friends gas him up to be a rapper. And the sad truth about this is that not every producer can turn into a rapper. Not all of us can be Travis Scott. Not all of us can be Kanye West. So obviously, Nav was inspired by Speaker Knockers with that high pitched singing type voice. People like P&B Rock also jumped on that hype and got careers off of it. But the thing about Speaker Knockers is that his style fit his personality, his charisma, the energy that he brought to all his songs. And he had a range and flows that he could be versatile with. He wasn't always just using the same flow. And his lyrical ability allowed him to switch between singing rap, and actually rapping. He was that talented. So RIP Speaker Knockers. But now when we get to Nav, I feel like it's the exact opposite. Because we know nothing about this man. There's no interviews, there's no press runs. He's basically a ghost. Now we can't really apply his personality to his music because we don't really know anything about him. He boasts about all these amazing things and all these accomplishments and being the best brown boy in the industry. And that's cool, but there's no real proof to all this flex. Now granted, there are people like The Weeknd and Party Next Door who are also pretty much anonymous to the public, but they put out such good music that everybody's okay with that. And again, granted, a lot of rappers in the industry rap about all these things that they don't really have, but we still gravitate to their music because it's good music. So I'm not really gonna hold that hard to Nav. But another problem I have with Nav is that his flows, much like his career, if I'm being honest, is the epitome of minimum effort. His voice doesn't really help anything when it comes to his music. He always keeps that same monotone, that same pitch in literally all of his songs, and it feels like he doesn't feel the need to change it. For whatever reason, I don't know. And this ends up with all of his songs sounding the same, and on top of that, he lacks the lyrical ability to switch between singing rap or actually rapping or really doing anything different with his voice. So, in conclusion, will Nav fall off? Honestly, maybe not. With this current state in hip hop where so many rappers sound the same and they're all getting all these amazing lasting careers off of sounding like other rappers, this is a big trend in the industry that nobody really feels the need to do anything new. Everybody's just copying somebody else who's successful. So, with so many rappers doing this, Nav perfectly fits the description of a successful rapper today. He's mastered the art of minimum effort, and it's because of this he kind of slides under the radar. He doesn't do bad enough for everybody to necessarily point out how terrible that he is, because a lot of the hate on the internet sometimes tends to be trend hate. Everybody hates on a person because everybody hates on them, and not a lot of people have actually listened to that person's music, like Russ, for example. But with Nav, his music is just good enough to earn the title okay, but not bad enough for him to be a terrible artist. So he just slides under the radar with nobody really noticing him, and it's because of this he was able to sell 82,000 first week, beating somebody like Kehlani. And again, granted, he did bundle, but all of our favorite rappers bundle, so we're not going to really hold that against him if we're not going to hold it against every other rapper who sells well. And on top of that, Nav has a fan base, and if you've watched other videos of mine, you know how important a fan base is. It's the reason why somebody with 100,000 dedicated diehard followers will always outsell somebody with 1 million average listeners, because the person with 100,000 diehard fans basically has a guaranteed 100,000 copies first week, whereas somebody with 1 million average listeners like a Smoke Perp doesn't sell well. Everybody knows who they are and everybody kind of listens to their music here and there, but nobody's really gonna jump at their albums as soon as they come out. So Nav has somewhat of a fan base, therefore he kind of is taken care of. And on top of that, Nav has actually had a long career in hip hop as a producer before he became a rapper. He's produced for people like Jay-Z to Drake. He's actually nominated because of Drake's back to back that got Grammy nominated. So Nav is, I guess, a Grammy nominated producer. So he obviously has a lot of associations that he's built within the music industry in this long career that he's had. So obviously that also gives him a foot ahead of other rappers. So will Nav ever be on the level of your Kanye West or Drake's? Definitely not. Never ever will that ever happen. Nav will forever be the person that rides the wave. He'll never be the person that makes the wave or makes the next new trend. But will Nav fall off? If I'm being honest with you, maybe not. But tell me what you guys think. Is this a stretch? Do you think Nav will fall off because so many people hate him, or will he actually stay relevant for quite some time because a lot of people hate him, but his music is just good enough to stay somewhat relevant? And if you like this type of content, you should probably click this next video. Click on it right now. I guarantee you will like it.